Before we dive deeper into the world of generative AI, let's break down what this term really means. So, generative AI is made up of two keywords. The first keyword is generative. So, what is generative? It refers to creating something new. So, this means that we would be creating something new, which could be images, which could be text, or which could even be videos. And the second word is AI, short for artificial intelligence, which basically refers to machines or systems that can think or learn like humans. So, together, generative AI refers to artificial intelligence that can create new content like text, images, music, or even ideas. And this is what makes generative AI so exciting. There are some key reasons why generative AI has become so important. Let's explore those together. So, the first one is Gen AI's ability to mimic human learning. So, AI is trained on massive datasets, absorbing knowledge from text, images, and code, just like humans learn by reading or observing. So, for example, just like a human artist gets better at drawing by studying thousands of paintings, similarly, AI also gets better at creating text or images by training on large amounts of data. The second is generative AI's real world impact. Generative AI is extensively being used in creative industries, customer service, chatbots, and even in scientific research. So, for example, you have ChatGPT, which writes articles, DALL-E, which creates unique images, and Music AI can compose new songs, all with the power of generative AI. The third thing to keep in mind is human collaboration. Generative AI is not really replacing human creativity, it's enhancing it by speeding up the processes and generating ideas that human can refine on. As an example, an artist can use AI to generate concept art very quickly and then refine it to add personal touches. And the fourth one is the potential applications in the future. Generative AI's future promises groundbreaking possibilities, from writing scripts to aiding scientific discovery. AI, for example, could help scientists discover new medicines, find cures for different diseases, or even create immersive digital experiences. There are potentially hundreds of life changing situations in which Gen AI can significantly improve humanity's response. Okay, now before we proceed, it is important to understand the difference between traditional artificial intelligence and generative artificial intelligence. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So, the main difference between traditional AI and Gen AI lies in what they can do and how they function. Okay, so let's start with traditional AI. So, traditional AI primarily focuses on analyzing, classifying, or predicting based on existing data. So, the key point in traditional AI models is that they're often built to perform specific tasks, like, for example, identifying objects in images or answering predefined questions. Let's take the example of image classification. So, in this case, AI identifies if a picture contains, for example, a dog or a cat or a person and so on. Let's take an example of how image classifiers work using traditional AI. So, the way this works is that we feed it some input and then we also tell it the right answer. So, if, for example, let's say we want a traditional AI image classifier to be able to identify cats. If we give it any image, it should be able to identify whether there's a cat present there or not, and let's say demarcate it, okay? Now, the way this is going to work is that we first need to train the model. So we'll feed it pictures of cats, cats of different colors, cats with different backgrounds, cats in different positions, and then we also mark, for example, this is the cat in this picture, okay? So in this way, we feed it a lot of data, for example, multiple pictures with different cats, different colors, backgrounds, and everything. So once this AI model has been trained on the data, now what we do is that we give it a picture and then we ask it, is there a cat in it? If so, can you please identify it? And then based on what it has learned, it's able to identify the cat in the image. Okay, so traditional AI models are very specific and very targeted. So you train it and then you give it some input and then it classifies or answers some questions. Now, the difference between traditional AI and generative AI is the way that they respond. So, for example, let's go to a generative AI model. In this case, let's say we again train it on different images of the cats, okay? But here's the difference. Once the model has been trained, then we ask it, can you generate an image of a cat lying on table and there's a child and woman in the background? In this case, the generative AI is not just identifying cat, it is actually creating a brand new image based on what it has learned. And this is where the magic happens, right? It is basically generating content. It's creating new content or data that doesn't exist yet based on patterns learned from the training data. For example, we can ask, can you generate an image of a white cat sitting on a chair? And it's going to do that. So generative AI is doing something more than just understanding or responding. It's using that intelligence to create new things. This is what makes generative AI so exciting.